This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, October 4th, in the year 1995, almost 3 decades ago, one of the best games of the 95 LDS happened. Yes, it was the ALDS between the Seattle Mariners and the New York Yankees in the first ever division series in Major League Baseball, as you can see by the picture. And no, it's not the game with the double by Edgar Martinez. I already did a Sports Catastrophe on that a few years ago. This is game 2. So to talk about the 95 playoff format, it's huge. Because baseball decided after 1993 and after the Marlins and Rockies were added to the National League and had 28 teams, baseball in their infinite wisdom decided that 2 teams out of 14 should not make the playoffs. They should have more. So what they did is they split the 2 leagues into 14 teams, well, the 14 teams each into 3 divisions. 2 divisions in the AL and NL would have 5 teams, and the other division would have 4. So it was practically agreed upon that the AL and NL West would be the ones with the 4 teams and all that, which was what happened, which was supposed to happen in 94 to start. But of course, the stupid strike, ruining the World Series, ruining an Expos-Yankees World Series, which would have been big because the Yankees were trying to get back into prominence after being dog shit in the 1980s. And the Expos were finally coming out of the shell and doing stuff in the 90s. They were winning their division. They were the best team in baseball, even better than the Braves. Well, the Blue Jays were just crap, but whatever. But anyway, yeah, that strike ruined it. So the first year with the new playoff format would be 95. So practically, you win your division, East, Central, West. You are in, and the best record of any non-division winning team would be given a wild card and would face off in the series. So they made the rule that was enacted for about 18 years, is that if you were the wild card team, you could not face the number 1 seed because the wild card team was given the 4 seed and the number 1 seed. If it was within your own division, then that means that you would have to face the number 2 team and all that. So based off of winning record and all that. So for this year, the New York Yankees were given the wild card as the Boston Red Sox. Strange but true, Boston won the 95 AL East, Cleveland won the AL Central, and Seattle won the AL West in that famous one-game playoff against California in which the Angels did a gigantic choke job and Seattle pulled a rally out and all that. The good news was that Seattle won the one-game playoff to face the Yankees. The bad news was that Randy Johnson could not pitch till Game 3, so they couldn't use Randy in New York. In New York. So Seattle had to pull some strings. So the other ALDS was between Boston and Cleveland. Cleveland were dominant, 100 wins, 44 losses, and Albert Bell hit 50 homers, 50 doubles. Nobody had ever done that. In the National League, it was Dodgers versus Reds and Braves versus Rockies. The Braves were the NL East champion. The Rockies were the NL West champion. Or no, were the wild card. Pardon me, they were the wild card, and then the Central and West champions, Reds and Dodgers, would meet. The Reds would sweep the Dodgers. The Braves would actually lose to the Rockies in, I believe, Game 3, or was it Game 2? I think it was Game 3. But regardless of that, the Braves did meet the Reds and beat the Reds in 4 straight to win the NLCS and went to the World Series. But let's look at the American League side of things. Now, the Mariners, were 79 and 66. The Yankees were 79 and 65, which wasn't bad in the 144-game season. The Yankees had to win on the final day in Toronto to win the wild card. Boston and Cleveland were a big series on their own. Game 1 saw Tony Pena, the ex-Red Sox catcher, hit a walk-off home run to sink the Red Sox for Cleveland. And people thought Tony Pena spells good night, as Bob Costas says. So anyway, Boston would get swept by Cleveland in 3. Well, Cleveland were dominant. However, Seattle and the Yankees game 1 saw the Yankees win 9-6 in a thriller. However, game 2 was a massive thriller. This is what we do. So the game started at 8:10 local time. Now, what was weird about this was that the Major League Baseball, in their infinite wisdom, decided to have all 4 playoff games go at the same time. So basically, Boston Cleveland game 2, Seattle Yankees game 2, Atlanta Colorado game 2, and Cincy LA game 2 would all be on at 8 o'clock local time. Would be at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So 4 networks would have to broadcast the 4 games, or just basically regional coverage. Canada had 1 series on CTV, if memory serves me right, 1 on TSN, 1 on CBC, and I can't remember who has the other one. But yeah, so they had to split them up. And all that. And CBC, well, if you watch YouTube, one guy has the Mariners-Yankees game, not MLB fault, but like one guy, John something, has it. And you see on the bottom right, the CBC bug. Because, yeah, that's what CBC Canada. And all that. So, yeah, so Mariners-Yankees would face each other off in the game. Andy Bennis and Andy Pettit, the 2 Andy Dandies, would pitch against each other to start. There was nothing big until the top of the 3rd when Vince Coleman, of all people, hit a home run deep to right field. Goodbye, home run, as Gary Foran, who was one of the commentators, would say. And he was the play-by-play guy, Gary Foran. I think NBC had the rights to the first 2 games, and then ABC would take over for 3, 4, 5. Yeah, NBC, it was Gary Foran on the call. Vince Coleman hit a home run deep to right field. And Vince Coleman's not really a home run hitter. He's a stolen base threat and all that. So the Mariners were up 1-0. However, Bertie Williams in the bottom of the 5th hit a double to score Wade Boggs. Seeing Wade Boggs in a Yankee uniform, Red Sox fans must be pissed. However, the Mariners would score in the top of the 6th on an RBI single by Tino Martinez. Before he was a Yankee, he was a Mariner. And Egger scored. Martinez scored to make it 2-1. However, Andy Bennis threw a 2-1 hanger to Ruben Sierra, who hit it deep to right field to tie the game. 2 pitches later, Bennis would give up another home run to right center field, this time from the bat of one Don Mattingly, the Yankees captain, if you will. Don Mattingly came out of freaking nowhere to hit a home run in the bottom of the 6th to make it 3-2 Yankees, and as Gary Foran had said, hang on to the roof. Goodbye, home run. As Mattingly hit it deep to right field, it was gone. It was 3-2 Yankees, and the fans were cheering. The big part was that Don Mattingly had never been to a playoff game and was feared to be the best Yankee to never make the playoffs with a team. And the Yankees, have been to many playoff appearances. But, of course, as I said, the 1980s were when they went off the cliff, in a sense. They ran out of time for the 93 AL East against the Blue Jays. But regardless of that, yeah, Don Mattingly finally would get in a postseason game. 94 robbed him because of the strike. But he finally got into a postseason game. Bill Risley, the future Blue Jay, would replace Bennis and would finish it up. Gerald Williams would play left field instead of Neon James for the Yankees. And then Luis Sojo hit an RBI single to score Joey Cora. Now, Sojo is big in Seattle lore because Sojo's Little League home run in the 7th inning against the Angels was the icing on the cake for Mariners beat the Angels. Ken Griffey hit a sac fly to score Vince Coleman, but they caught Luis Sojo napping, and he was out. So it was a sac fly by Griffey to score Coleman. Sojo would ironically be a Yankee and a hero in the 2000 World Series, hitting a 12-inning game-winning hit in Game 1, I think. So the Mariners were up 4-3. But hang on, Norm Charlton, who was known as one of the bad boys of the Reds pitching bullpen in the 90s, came on and gave up a home run to Paul O'Neill, who was a former Red himself, and it tied the game at 4. Bob Wickman would come in the top of the 8th for the Yankees to replace Pennant, the future Indian and Brewer closer, if you will. The Mariners were up to something. They had a runner on second, but Vince Coleman and Luis Sojo both whiffed off of John Wetland. Expos fans would groan because Wetland, alongside Larry Walker and Marcus Grissom and Ken Hill, all of them had to leave Montreal because of salary constraints, because, Montreal did not get the revenue for the playoffs, which would have helped them out. But they had to get rid of 4 players. They could have kept 1 or 2, but they didn't. Wetland went to the Yankees. Grissom went to the Braves. Hill went to Cleveland. And Larry Walker went to Colorado. So anyway, after a pair of strikeouts, Norm Charlton was back in for the bottom of the 9th. Chris Woodger would play catcher. Alex Diaz would play left field, replacing Vince Coleman. Randy Filardi, Wade Boggs, and Bernie Williams would be out. Till the 10th inning, there was a double by Jay Buhner. And then Doug Strange came in to pinch hit for Mike Blowers and grounded out. Strange would go to third base, and the Yankees couldn't do anything. It was bottom of the 11th, Darryl Strawberry, the former Met icon, was playing for the Yankees. He pinch hit for Gerald Williams, as Jeff Nelson would come in to pitch. Future Yankee himself. Nelson would pitch against Strawberry, Leyritz, and Tony Fernandez. Blue Jay fans were like, yuck, him? Anyway, Strawberry, Leyritz, and Fernandez all struck out. All went out. Top of the 12th, Pat Kelly would play second base, and Randy Filardi would move from second to left, replacing Strawberry. Widger struck out, Luis Sojo popped up, and then Griffey got a 3-1 pitch from Wetland, somehow tagged it to deep right center. Goodbye, home run. Griffey makes it 5-4. Edgar Martinez hit a single. Mo Rivera would pitch for the Yankees in the 95 season. He came on and made Jay Buhner struck out. No big deal. Nelson struck out Randy Filardi, walked Wade Boggs, and then Tim Belcher came in to pitch for the whole thing. Jorge Posada played in the 95 playoffs. He was pinch running for Wade Boggs, who was not really a fast person. Bertie Williams walked. Posada got to second. So it was first and second. Paul O'Neill hit a fly ball out. And then Ruben Sierra came on with a 1-1 pitch, hit a double, scored Posada, and then, thanks to some great relay work, Bertie Williams was caught at the plate. And the Yankees almost won in the 12th, but they failed. It was 5-5. Russ Davis would play third base for the Yankees. Future Mariner. Doug Strange, Tino Martinez, and Alex Diaz couldn't do anything. Felix Furman would play second base for the Mariners, replacing Joey Cora. John Mattingly singled. Kelly grounded sacrifice bunt, Mattingly the second. Leyritz grounded out. Mattingly would stay at second. Tony Fernandez was given an intentional walk, and Randy Filardi popped up. Furman, Widger, and Sojo went down to Rivera in the 14th, all on strikeouts. In the bottom of the 14th, Russ Davis singled. Bertie Williams hit a line drive double play as Russ Davis was caught napping and doubled off. Paul O'Neill would walk. Ruben Sierra would ground out. The Mariners would have Griffey fly out. Edgar Martinez singled. Buhner singled. It was first and second, but Doug Strange and Tino Martinez made out. And then after Mattingly grounded out and Pat Kelly walked, Leyritz came in on a 3-1 pitch. The rain was falling at Yankee Stadium. No chance for a rain delay. And then Jim Leyritz, off of Tim Belcher, hit a massive home run. And the game ended at 1:22 a.m. Eastern Time on October the 5th. But yeah, it was 5 hours, 12 minutes. And the game finally was over. The showers were throughout the night, and he hit fly ball to right field. And the Yankees were up 2-0 as Shout would play over the loudspeakers, and Leyritz would be a freaking hero. So the Mariners were now down 2-0 in the best of 5. It looked bleak for them, even though they had 3 games at home, games 3, 4, 5. It looked like the Yankees were going to take down the Mariners, and a possibility that the Pacific Northwest will be without baseball. Tim Belcher, if you watch the footage, actually went cuckoo bananas and threatened to break cameras after giving up that home run in the 15th inning. So anyway, the Mariners were fucked over. And it looked like the Yankees were going to move on to face Cleveland in the ALCS. However, not so fast. Game 3 brought Seattle fresh air. Of course, Seattle, the good news was Randy Johnson would be fresh for game 3, and he stymied the Yankees winning 9-1, forcing a game 4 for Saturday night. And on that Saturday night, 6-6 tie when Edgar Martinez came in off of Wetland and drove one to center field that was over the fence, home run, and Edgar Martinez saved the Mariners with his home run exploits. 10-6 final score for Seattle. They would force a game 5 Sunday night on ABC against the Yankees with Brett Musburger calling it play-by-play. And of course, we all know about Edgar's double, but let's not forget that the Yankees were confident, up 4-2, headed to the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th, when Griffey led off the 8th and hit one to right field with his 5th home run of the series, tying Reggie Jackson for most home runs in a single series with 5. And then the Yankees left David Cohn too long as he basically walked Doug Strange on his 130th pitch or something, and ball 4 just forcing a run. Mo Rivera was ready. They should have used Rivera. If Buck Showalter had yanked Cohn earlier for Rivera, who knows? Maybe the Yankees would have won. But that was problemsome. Randy Johnson came out of the bullpen to pitch in Game 5, gave up a run, but the Yankees gave up 2 on, of course, Edgar Martinez's double. And that saved baseball in the Pacific Northwest, and Buck Showalter was shown the door. But it was good for the Yankees because Joe Torre decided to manage the Yankees, and boy, did he manage them good, winning 3 World Series titles out of 4 years. So basically, Buck Showalter fucked everything up. But on this one glorious night, Jim Leyritz made them all believe. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond.